Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I am so excited to have you all back together again. Now in today's video, we're going to be discussing a new Disney Plus ranking because today, this past week, Moon Knight came out on Disney Plus for its final episode. So that means today, I am going to stop and rank all six MCU Disney Plus TV shows from the worst to the best. Let's go ahead and get started. So for me, when I first heard about this show, I was extremely skeptical for this one because it was about a character that died because Loki died in Infinity War, and I'm like, he already died twice, so why are you bringing him back again? And it felt like a very cheap shot. But then I was thinking, they kind of did this with WandaVision and bringing Vision back, and I'm like, and because it was just, the WandaVision would just look so weird, and that show's gonna be a lot higher on this list. So I thought, hey, if that show was good, maybe this show could be too, and had the advantage to be at least a good series. Unfortunately, that's not really what this series turned out to be. And basically, I wasn't really interested into it at all when the show came out. It basically is just it feels more like a short film that like sets up the multiverse rather than actually being a show about Loki. And I never really cared for it. I like the character of Sylvie. Never really cared for the story of the multiverse. I mean, I like that it sets up No Way Home, What If, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And it does have some cool Loki variant characters in here. The visuals in here are amazing. Mobius and Loki's characters are amazing. And also, like, it just feels more like a multiverse setup show than an actual Loki show. So that's really the biggest issue. And then likewise, as a Marvel show, the show is very weak on action sequences. Like, it probably has some of the weakest action in the entire MCU. So, that's pretty much my thoughts on Loki, and that's why it's my least favorite MCU Disney Plus show. Alright, now I know what you're thinking, why is this show so low? I honestly could not really find an episode that I actually really liked. It was just too disappointing. It didn't really work for me at all. The show was just a big mess. I'm sorry, but I did not like this show. It's not good. I don't understand why people like it. They had a lot going on. The action was pretty cool. Oscar Isaac, fantastic performance. Ethan Hawke, pretty good villain. But it's like the story itself really let itself down. That's the big part about this, of why this show didn't work for me. So it's going number 5. Now, this is a show that I heard a lot of hate for, and honestly, I don't understand why. So pretty much every other project up until this point, I actually really like, and What If is no exception. This is a really good show. I love the way that it explores all these different alternate realities of how the MCU could have been different, of how the MCU are, of how the other universes are different. Like with the first Captain Carter episode, it's pretty obvious, but at the same time, it adds some new intrigue into the mix. And then even with this show, they can even make like new different stories, except with the same world that we're in the MCU, which I absolutely loved the way they did that. Likewise, I think that the way they were able to even introduce some new genres, like the zombie apocalypse or murder mystery, I thought all of that was really cool. And even like when you get into the third act, like the final episodes, it's even better as they find some way to, because it's a superhero show, they find some way to unite all the characters together so that way they can have a big showdown, and I love that. Overall, it was a really good show. I will say this though, I wish that this show really had like a bigger impact on the MCU, because it's like, we don't really know anything. Granted, I'm gonna be, by the time you're watching this at like 4:40 or something like that, I'm gonna be watching Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness at 5:30 today. So, just to be clear to that. But, so maybe you'll say something about it. But overall, I did like this movie. I did like this show, sorry. I did like this show, and I cannot wait for season 2. Now for me, pretty much after WandaVision, this was one of my most anticipated MCU Disney Plus shows, because first off, I loved the Captain America trilogy, and I do like these characters. I think the trailers have been amazing with them, and so I think making a project really about them and being on this adventure and seeing kind of like how they would be on an adventure like alone, like not with Captain America, not with Steve Rogers, seemed interesting to me. And I think what it did so well is they really did great with the characters. Whether it was Sam, Bucky, the introduction to John Walker with his character. I would say John Walker is one of the best characters in Phase 4, besides Yelena and Su Saling, and Wenwu and Shang-Chi. But, Sam's arc of becoming Captain America is just so profound in the way they actually take all this story about racism and they put it to stars, and I love that. Bucky's arc about making amends of people that he wronged as Winter Soldier, pretty cool storyline. The action, pretty much in every episode there's always a cool action sequence, especially in that first episode. You gotta go check it out. Carly Morgenthau, pretty cool villain, not the best one. I only understood her really in episode 4, so I can't really give her much praise for that. Baron Zemo, it was fun seeing him come back. I think the biggest issue is the way that they kind of do a lot of storylines, and then some of them just don't work. Especially when you get to like, we're gonna hack the code or something in the last episode, and then the reveal of Sharon Carter being the power broker, I wasn't really the biggest fan of because it was obvious that it was her. But overall, it was a show that I liked, and I cannot wait to see where these characters come from there. And I cannot wait to see Captain America 4. Now, unlike Loki, which is in last place on this list, I was so skeptical for WandaVision because I just did not know how you could create a sitcom for your start of your fourth phase of your long-running franchise, and bringing back a character that died about 3 years before this, about 3 years ago. But then I watched the first couple of episodes, and while they were basically legit 50s sitcoms, they were really great. But then you got more into the show, and you started to see why this show was something great. Then you got into the 4th episode, and it kind of explains what's been going on. Then you get into the 5th episode, which is my favorite episode of the series, and it's even better. Then you get into the rest of the episodes, and they're good, but they're not as peak as episode 5 was. But this whole show really does great stuff. Of course, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen have great performances as Vision and Wanda. They all have great performances. Monica Rambeau actually gets her like own superhero origin story. Seeing Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man and the Wasp was cool again. Introducing Sword in the MCU, that was something I was not expecting going into this show. Seeing Darcy again was pretty cool. But I think the best thing about this show, well, actually, I also liked Agatha too. Her performance, not really the character. Her performance was great, but not the character. My favorite thing about this show was the way they explored Wanda. The performance from her, the emotion, the tragedy that she had to go through from losing her mom, her parents, her brother, now her robot lover. And even losing her kids, that's a lot to do. And if I'm being honest, I understand why she had to do that. I understand why she had to take a whole time hostage. She didn't know what she was doing. She was just outraged by love. She was sad. So she obviously she didn't mean to do it. She was just so mad. Granted, in the 8th episode, I don't understand why she decided to create a whole world of sitcoms. I feel like they just put that whole little bit in of her liking sitcoms because the show is a sitcom. I don't know. But overall, I did like it. I wonder what they're gonna do with White Vision though. That's something I want to see. And also, I cannot wait to see Wanda and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in just a couple of minutes. So, yeah. Now, this was a show that I was a little bit skeptical for, but until I saw a trailer, I was like, this is gonna be a really good show. And every time I keep thinking about it, I'm like, there's actually a lot of stuff that I think this show could actually do really well. And right out of the gate when you enter the show, it's just a straight up fun show where you don't really care for the characters as much, but what I loved about it was really the action and the Christmas vibe. And put that together and you just create a really good show. But at the same time, you could still have fun with the characters and you still care for them, while not exactly being like amazing characters of all time. Like, you care for Clint, but you don't care for him as you do for say Wanda or Peter in No Way Home. You care for him that you can't make it for Christmas in time, but yeah. Kate Bishop and Yelena, great chemistry together. Echo, pretty cool villain, pretty cool origin story of that. Clint killed her father. I love the emotions with Yelena and Black Widow. And then when you get, all the action is just so good. I don't really like the way they ended up Kingpin and stuff, but overall, it's just a great series. And I honestly want more episodes, and I don't even know where Kate Bishop's gonna be from here. Alright, so that's it for my review of my ranking of all the MCU Disney Plus shows. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there. And that's everything I have to say. Bye, guys.